What we're talking about tonight is Ottawa over. Do you want to hear the answer? Ottawa overtaxing us.
Citizens, welcome to our set 3.0. We are actually not on set. We are actually currently away. As you can tell, we are at you can hear the river behind us, taking a little bit of R&R and also spending some time with some friends and family. So that is where we are, but we didn't want to miss you guys.
That's right. We're off the grid. This week we're kind of off the grid.
Yeah.
There's some reception, which is good. But I hope you guys have been doing well. Lots of stuff to catch up on as we head back into September. I know next week we'll be back in the full swing of things. But what else is going on? We missed last week because we literally had no reception.
Yeah, we had no
which was nice.
Where we had to go. But we definitely want to touch base with you guys. This won't be a full episode. We just want to touch base with you guys on a few things that's going on. Mm-hmm. There's been some progress and some stuff in Alberta and very little progress in the nation of Canada.
Yeah, the same issues keep coming up. We're on repeat over and over again. We got housing problems. We got immigration problems. There's no trade deal. We have high inflation. It's like all this stuff. Yet, is there any proposed solutions that's going to change any of this? Or are we just spinning our wheels?
We're currently in the United States of America. And as soon as we pulled in, my son stepped out of the car and he was like, "Oh, I smell that like fresh air." And I was like, "The smell of freedom." Yeah. Anyway, it's kind of a running joke around here, but
I wonder how many people of our audience will boycott us for being in the U.S. for some downtime.
Maybe, I don't know. Some people love.
I think that's ridiculous. But on that note, though, we don't have any progress on trade talks.
Yeah,
there's been back and forth, but there's been rejection where Trump hasn't connected with Carney a couple times. Cool. But there has been zero progress on that. I know Pierre Poilievre is the big news from last week, is that he obviously won his by-election by a landslide, and he was making the comments of no more elbows. I think that's what he said, or no elbows, in terms of Mark Carney now wanting to remove certain tariffs towards the U.S. So, anyways, I just would love to see some progress.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like, how much time does it take? I just feel like we're spinning our wheels here as Canadians in terms of we are clear about what the issues are, but we still seem divided on are they actually issues or not?
Yeah.
Because if they really were, what's that dichotomy you're talking about where it has to hit a certain level of pain before people actually want to see change?
Beta region principle.
The beta region
principle, where it's like, essentially, it's almost better off for people to be in worse circumstances, like, let's say a real health crisis punches them in the face with a diagnosis, and it causes them to really actually radically change their life. Whereas the slow degrading of like arthritis and pain and aches and this, which ends up being a worse situation because they never take change. Yeah. And it's just, you kind of get used to the suffering, used to the pain. And that's a really good example to talk about for sure. I think the nation of Canada is that we have been in a pain and suffering for so long, and it's been so gradual, and it's never been such a harsh issue that people take change seriously. Yeah. So that's actually a good point to make.
Well, I wonder what that threshold is for Canadians. Because you're talking about the slow erosion of what you can even say what Canadian culture is, of what it means to be Canadian, the strength that the country had. Yeah. It's been over the last decade for sure. Ronald Reagan said that we're no more than one generation away from losing democracy, and it's something you have to fight for. But I wonder what that threshold is for us as Canadians, to where we actually snap out of it and be like, we have to make drastic change. Like, what is that point?
Well,
across the board, everyone's like, yeah, this isn't good. Because you have a lot of people that are like, things are fine.
Well, the Nova Scotia and Newfoundland fines for hiking in the woods is it's wild that people are across the board accepting that they're okay with that, and that there's people calling people in, and that they're, again, it's like COVID all over again. It's like they're excited to call people and get them, and it's like, why are we so okay with losing our freedoms? The freedom to travel, like the freedom to what's the in the charter, the freedom to travel without due movements. Yeah, I think something like that. Where it's like people have no problem just surrendering that and having these monster fines, and they're like, it's in the name of protecting the forest. But when the premier starts to actually explain what it's for, there's no logic.
I actually don't know what was the I remember the fine started low, and all of a sudden now it started hearing hundreds of thousands of dollars and potentially jail time.
Yeah, 1 year jail time they were talking about. So there's a couple of people that went out and tried to get the fine, so that, because once you get the fine is when you can actually take legal action against the fine once you actually have it. But if you don't have a fine, there's nobody to sue. So there's a few people that did that, and I saw Jake O'Keefe actually there. But she began I think she was in Newfoundland. I might be wrong. I might be the Newfoundland Free Air. She was talking about how their resources are elsewhere and they don't have the ability to come rescue you if you get to a fall or this. And so then people were saying, and then we should talk about that. Like, we don't have the capacity.
Why do we have to rely? Well, I understand you want to have services like that, but we're all in theory adults. You know the risks of going and doing something.
Take the risks that you want, of course, and of course it should just be their freedom to choose that. And if they don't have the resources to do that, they should be discussing that actual issue of resources to be able to take care of their citizens and the problems that come with the places that we live. And
But back to that principle you're saying, like, there's a lot of issues in Canada that's going on, but we're not seeing any progress because you see obviously split between parties, even split between Canadian citizens as to what is it an issue, is it a real issue. You've got whether it's half and half, maybe according to the vote, if you want to go that way. People think it is, but I wonder if you look at what's the word I'm looking for? What's starting to potentially boil over in Alberta with the separation talks. Danielle Smith, I'm not sure if you guys saw that clip. We don't have the edit power because we're a little. It's Wednesday. We're doing this today. This is going up tonight. But Danielle Smith, you could tell, is getting very frustrated. It was nice to see some emotion and some anger when she was snapping back at a reporter about the amount of money that's actually, and she used the word, siphoned out of Alberta by political means and political purposes. I think it was a tune of $25 billion. Do
you have the clip?
I do have the clip on my phone here.
What we're talking about tonight is Ottawa over. Do you want to hear the answer? Ottawa overtaxing us. I mentioned that at the beginning of the evening, that our program costs are 70% of all tax dollars. We only collect 40%. Ottawa collects 60%, and then they use political means to transfer it. Alberta, year after year, has $20 to $25 billion that is siphoned out of our system to go to Ottawa so that it can be spent mostly in Quebec, but also in other places that vote Liberal. We have been watching this for years. $600 billion in the last 40 or 50 years that have been taken out of this province. You don't think we might be able to do a little bit more on social spending if those $20 to $25 billion stayed here? You don't think we'd be able to cut taxes a bit if those $20 to $25 billion stayed here? It is $5,000 per Albertan that every single year gets transferred out of this province for political reasons so that the Liberals can continue to spend it in places that vote Liberal. That is what is happening in the province.
That she was going to say 5,000 per household.
No, per person. So that's Sloan.
Yeah, all five.
Cutting a check. Whether someone if you make 40 grand a year in Alberta every year, it's in theory, in practicality, you are writing a $5,000 check and sending abroad. Whether you make $1 million, you're sending every single Albertan. That's the difference. But that's a great clip because you can see the frustration, and she's starting to actually sound like someone that might be stoking the fire in the sense of what the real problems are, especially in particular to Alberta.
Yeah.
But my point in going back to this whole thing, what the principle you're talking about, if Alberta's separation referendum actually has the legs to go through, you're hearing from different sides whether it does or doesn't. I think it's a close call right now. If it does, though, is that going to be enough pain where Canada realizes something is actually wrong?
Yeah.
Or is it not going to be? That's the point. Well, why I'm asking, what is that level and that we need to hit before we realize we need some significant change? You're looking at, there's been some guys who've been uncovering a massive truck driving issues, like semi-truck driving issues, so that's related to immigration and people who don't know our system and how to drive. Anyways, the thing with Canada is that there's it seems to be no progress forward in handling these solutions. So anyways, or finding solutions.
That's exactly it. And I think people need to critically look at that regardless of what side of the spectrum, political spectrum you're on. You have to just look at solutions, and we have to be trying to find them and actually arrive at them.
But I feel like we're on repeat. Like you can keep talking about this over and over again. Lots of still, I think, opportunity as Canadians and for Canada, but there's some issues that got, and those people on the Alberta side who are, they're already at the point of, I'm done. We'll try to figure out with the rest of Canada. That's why we do our own thing.
I know.
I can understand that side too.
And like all of this rises and falls again, we're kind of on repeat here because we're not seeing the right answers. Is affordability, finances. Are we making people richer because they're all getting poorer? And like, you just saw my son. I have to think about how when my son and my daughter are going to go buy a home, my daughter is going to be in, 7 years in the dock. 7 years. and starting to house shop in probably 9 years. And so it's like, will she be able to do that? And we have to start now because it takes 10 years. Like the amount of debt we have, the amount of destroying of our dollar we've done. Like the dollar's been so inflated. It's like, anyway, there's damage that's been done and there's a lot we have to fix. And so we've said now, like right now.
Also, I guess before I wrap up, I want to touch on the shooting that happened in Minnesota.
I think it was Minnesota. I don't know the exact town, but it was in a Christian Catholic school. They were in the middle of mass. And some psychopath came in and shot, I think he shot about 20 kids or 18 or 19 kids. 2 have passed away tragically and 17 are injured and there's a few that are in critical condition. And so our thoughts and prayers are with them and I hope we can all pray together and pray for peace for the families and guidance.
Yeah.
The shooter was a male, transgender, I think, and he born male. He had all sorts of writings and stuff on his guns and all this stuff, and he posted some videos on his YouTube channel saying kill Donald Trump and just a bunch of hate speech and stuff saying where's your God on his guns and all this stuff. So very evil.
Absolutely invasive evil. Exactly. That is, yeah. I found that from you this morning because you're not really checking out all the stuff that's going on, but that's just horrific. So our thoughts and prayers are out to all the families and all those that are affected as well. So it's funny because Jeremy's kids, just so you know, keep coming to look at the phone. They don't realize there's
a second shot right there. So there's my daughter. That's my daughter I was talking about. Anyway, this is the life. We're away at camp, and this is us just still trying to connect with you guys. We hope that you guys can like, comment, follow, let us know some stuff that you're concerned about. Also, I had a bunch of people say, "Man, you guys should have interviewed Sean Foyt on this." I was like, "We did," and the mayor. They're like, "You did?" I'm like, "Yeah, we did." And so make sure if you're just seeing this now, go back, watch those episodes, and make sure that you get caught up on it because we're wanting to pursue these types of issues and things that are going on in our country. So if you know anything about maybe the fines, not Alberta, Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, maybe some friends there, tag us on stories you guys want us to cover. We go to the comments, we always watch it, and we want to stay on top of it as best we can.
Yeah. Well, we've had 2 pretty good, decent weeks. We'll be back full swing next week going into September. It's going to be awesome. We're so pumped you guys are still with us on the journey as we've been on this for just over a year now doing Citizen. But anyways, that's it for today, I guess.
Goes on.
The show goes on.